because it's like I would have never known. I would have never known. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, and that's why I put so much emphasis on this shit now is because I wouldn't have had no way to identify um like undercover homosexuals or why gay people thought it was okay to come on to me or none of that. Like I said, a stranger put it in perspective for me when I was 30 years old. I'm only 34, so I only knew this shit for 4 years now. I didn't know this shit 12 years ago. So it's like a stranger put it in perspective for me, like, damn, okay, that's why this shit happened. And it's like, bro, I've been around people. Well, I know my dad knew. He had to. You know what I'm saying? Because I always felt like some of these preachers be a little feminine to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, one of my homies used to get mad when I would say that, but it's like, shit, I can't help that the nigga act like a bitch to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little feminine to him, and it's like, I feel like my dad knew this shit. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't tell me because it didn't benefit him to be honest with me about his truth. And it's like, but I never liked pastors because of him. I never liked preachers because of dude. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I said, I looked at them. I ain't gonna say like I looked at them to be perfect, but I looked at preachers to be somewhat of the good people in the world, or I figured they had to be respectable men. You know, at least that was the way I viewed preachers. I viewed them um, not better than nobody, but I'm saying I felt like when you mention a preacher that they're a better person than everybody else is. I figured I feel like that would be the reason. I felt like that was the reason God put them in a position to lead other people to God because they were better people than everyone else. Not better in the sense of like, oh, I'm better than you. I'm saying their conduct, the quality of person that they were. I felt like that's why God put them in that position. And then I'm the son of one, and he a piece of shit. He's a deadbeat. So it's like that fucked up my whole perspective about preachers and like, are they really what they say they are? Based on my own personal experience with my dad being a preacher, and I seen this man one time in my 34 years of life, and it was shit. I seen him when I was 17 years ago. So it's like I seen him for the first time, like face to face. Actually said something to this man 17 years ago when I was 17 years old, and it's like, but he's one of those men that I held in high regard. Well, I held it in high regard because I just thought that that was like a badge of honor from God to be like a preacher. You know what I'm saying? I felt like God trusted you to lead other people to Him, so I felt like that was like a high ranking position in life to be a preacher because God trusts you. I mean, I felt like that was, at least that's what I thought. That was what I thought. But for my own dad to be a preacher and I only seen this nigga one time in 17 years, and I only seen him one time in 34 years, but it was 17 years ago. Like, that shit definitely fucked up my perspective about preachers and what kind of people they are. I feel like a lot of these preachers be abusing the power that God gave them. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that they can convince other people and persuade other people. It's like it's a gift from God, but it's like it's not a gift that everyone appropriates. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't use the gift for good, for God's good anyway. Like, so I can't, like, I'm not holding it against, well, I ain't holding a grudge against preachers anymore because of the preacher that put me on or what he put me on here. Shit. Like, my perspective on preachers has changed based on the only reason I'm in Atlanta is because of a preacher. Like, it's been a long time since. like somebody could speak to me like on a level of intellect to where like I hear things that I hear a message in a message, if that makes sense. So it's been a long time since I've been able to communicate with anyone on that level. And a preacher told me to come here, and based on the truth, it technically doesn't benefit him to have told me to come here. Technically, like him telling me to come here was like it's another example of how God is real because him telling me to come here is to hold him accountable for what I know about him as well, but he did it anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's like my bad experience with my dad as a preacher is the reason why I probably wouldn't have gave a preacher a chance, but this preacher, I like the way he preached too. Like he preached more real than I've ever heard, and he told me to come here, and it don't benefit him. Based on what I do, he knows what I can do to him based on what I do, and he told me to come here anyway. Like that's the character that I look for in people. Like he knows what I do, and I can do it to him, and he told me to come here anyway. He told me to come here anyway. So it's like that's the character I'm talking about. Like when I speak of character of a man and character of people in this world, like that's the character. Like it don't benefit it doesn't benefit him, but it was the best move he could have made. Put it like that. Like it don't benefit him to tell me to come here based on what I do, but it was the best thing he could have did because it's like it changed my whole perspective on people and a preacher for sure. Because it's like, man, I'm the worst on preachers for real, based on my dad's example of what a preacher is. I'm the worst on preachers. So for him to do that showed a lot of character, and it showed that he actually about what he be talking about when it comes to God and his love for God. I said what I said. Sauce bullshit.